devices, cell phones, etc. So at 6 o'clock, I call this meeting of Saginaw City Council to order. Please rise for the pledges. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Please be seated. Item 1C is the invocation. I don't see anybody here. Anyone feeling it as to do the invocation for us? Do I have a volunteer? Anybody? Audience, staff, council, anybody? Sean? Sure.
Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to get together as leaders and as staff and as citizens to just make decisions that best fit the city and the citizens and the staff. And we thank you for that opportunity. Please watch over us as we try to make decisions that will guide the future of this city. We know that this is a city on the right track, and we know that your hand is over all of it. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
1D is audience participation. Anyone who wishes to speak on any posted item may do so. A couple public hearings. When I call a public hearing, I will call for speakers. If not, you can fill out one of these forms as well. So a couple options for you. Let's go on to 2A. So I have 6:01. We're in a public hearing. Continuation of public hearing for fiscal year 2025-26 proposed budget. Gabe Braham and Kim Quinton.
Mayor and council, we're continuing the public hearing from last week. We have no presentation or additional information. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Council, any questions for staff?
I had sent you an email. I know it was short notice. I kind of had been trying to work through. So once we approve this budget, anything that's in there, does it have to go through another process of approval if there's a specific expenditure, or once it's in there, it's approved and it's done?
So if it's a contract, and I think I know what you're speaking about, we would bring it to the city council, or if it's over 50,000 over the threshold. On this issue, I've talked with some of the council. You know, the destination management organization, the grand scheme of the budget is very minor. It's also restricted use. So if the council wants to discuss that further, then maybe let's not let it impede the budget adoption and talk about it later. We can have the chamber come back and address any questions, what have you. So that sound fair?
I don't know, because I don't know if I'm entirely comfortable with it yet.
Sure.
But again, I'm just one vote, so.
Yeah, so what I'm saying, if that's the desire of the council, let's just,
So why don't you tell us what it is so the rest of the council will know, and then we can decide as a quorum.
Well, I got an email, I don't know if anybody else did, and I think Mr. Guttery is submitted to speak on this issue. So I don't know if since it's a public hearing, if we want to let him speak, and then I kind of have the same concerns, so he might ask those questions.
I would say you speak your own council, and then
Yeah.
he can speak his back yet.
Yeah, so I was sent what specifically we could use that money for on the hotel motel tax. We're speaking in regards to the destination marketing, which is in the budget portion of the hotel motel tax expenditures. And pull it up here. What I sent. So I highlighted a portion of it. It says all entities, including staff that are directly and indirectly, that are directly or indirectly funded by local hotel occupancy tax are annually required to provide a list of scheduled activities, programs, or events that will directly enhance or promote tourism and the convention of the convention and hotel industry. This list is to be provided annually to the city secretary or his/her designee prior to the expenditure of the hotel occupancy tax funding by the funded entity. So that presentation that we got, I felt like was kind of vague. So I would like, it says a list of activities, and in the presentation that, or email that we got from the city attorney also said that, it needed to be specific. And so I just wanted to, it's kind of as vague and said that if the council decided that it was fine, then it was probably fine. But I think that it needs to be more specific. What are we getting for these dollars?
I do know that I did ask at the last council meeting for information. They sent a lot of data back, and when I dug through it, they actually said right up front that there was no data. And mine was, they threw a huge number out there, a number of people visiting, say, the stockyards. But they never came out, nowhere's in it does it say for every mile past that, how much it drops off, so, And so that's where I was struggling with we're talking about $35,000, and I never did get, I'm like you, I never did get a feel in there what we could expect. Okay, I invest $35,000, what's my ROI, what's my return on investment? So the return is getting people to visit Saginaw, right? Nowhere's in there was there ever any data that said, okay, we're gonna invest this $35,000 and we're going to get 5 people next year. That's going to translate into 5 people, potentially 5 people visiting Saginaw.
What?
That was my concern about reading that.
To staff, I mean, I don't know if you have this information handy, but what have we spent hotel motel tax dollars on in the past, in the recent past, like the last 5 years or so?
Yeah, so the hot tax is used for the operation of the farmer's market, the operation contract with Community Link, and then we pay for entertainment for Training Grain. And I think that's everything. And advertising for special events, which are all allowable. So there's certain percentages in hotel occupancy tax you can't exceed a certain amount by category.
Right.
But probably the purest use in bigger cities at Convention and Visitors Bureau. Of course, we're not the size where that would merit, or have enough hotels to make that viable. So, yeah.
We did one time use the money for our sister city to come here, and we advertised that, and they put on a dance. It ain't really a dance, it was
The cultural
a cultural
show, yeah, right.
And people actually came. You could literally trace that back to people came just because of that. But that is one thing that we also use that money for. And
One of the things, back 2 months ago, Councilmember Sinclair, Lawson, and myself went to a presentation. They actually had 2 outside people that do the presentation. And if anybody's got doubts, I think we can have them come in and do a presentation for us, because they got into a lot more in-depth. The one lady, she used to do College Station, she now does Fredericksburg's. And with FIFA coming and everything, this is something that we can't ignore. I did a bunch of research today on FIFA and Airbnbs and such. I mean, it's the numbers that Deloitte Financial did on what it's going to do in the DFW area, not just Arlington or Dallas, with the Airbnbs, the hotels, the restaurants, and everything. It's pretty astronomical. I mean, they're paying an average $113 per guest for accommodations, for this spend, and it's a 34-day event. So it's marketing that stuff. I looked up the Airbnbs, and from what I can tell, we had 26 that I found, and just about every one of them says so many distance, 10 minutes to the stockyards, 15 minutes to downtown. I was at Andy's Custard's ribbon cutting, and the gentleman from Texas Motor Speedway was there. They had dialogue, and they're gonna get involved in this thing, and this is all stuff that we'll be able to capitalize on. We can't do it in-house for $35,000, there's just no way. And
but we can't do what for $35,000?
do this marketing and the
I
destination
thought that's what
marketing.
our communication guys does too sometimes.
There's,
Aren't they supposed to do that also?
they do some of it, but it's a full-time position, at least.
We'll see.
So, go ahead. You want?
Go ahead, Mayor, sure. You are, yes, ma'am.
When I was watching that or listening to the presentation, I did not feel like it was something that Saginaw could benefit from very well at this time. I don't think we have a big enough draw. I don't want to take away from the points that Benjamin's going to make. I think we all got his email. But another thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way was Nick had a specific question about how much distance would it take to be beneficial to a city, you know, whatever. And the response that we got back was very, very, very long study that was only talking about international travel and COVID. So it didn't even answer Nick's question. And that made me also kind of have a bad taste in my mouth about it. I think well, I don't want to go on and on because Benjamin has some good points too. But I think at some point when that fund builds up and we have more things to use as a draw to our city, that might be a good thing to have, but I think at this time, it isn't.
John, you got more? You
Yeah.
got something else?
So I mean, I'll admit this publicly, I'm not a soccer fan. So
Neither am I.
when, since you've done the research, when is that, the World Cup?
Next spring,
Next spring.
late spring.
So in your opinion, you think that we're equipped with we don't have a ordinance yet for Airbnbs, but once we get the ordinance, we're gonna be equipped to wrap all of those in and start marketing for these Airbnbs to fill their slots in enough
And
time?
then there's that, and then there's stuff coming like every year in Arlington. There's an international rugby thing. There's a whole bunch of big events. And, you know, my opinion is we do this for a year, see what we get, and then we either renew it or we don't.
So Mayor and Council, on the World Cup, and I've attended some regional meetings, the amount of traffic is going to be significant. We're talking hundreds of thousands, if not close to 1 million. My understanding is that region-wide, if all hotels were booked, there's a deficit. So everybody coming from around the world is going to go into the suburbs, right, to stay wherever, and there'll be a tremendous impact. So that's what I think maybe started some of this discussion with the chamber is, hey, we want to get ahead of this.
And when is the World Cup?
I think it believes
I think
in,
it starts.
yeah, maybe May through
May or
July.
June.
Next year.
Yeah, but next
So
year,
don't you
26.
think that those people that go to World Cups and things, like, you know, they plan ahead, the
No.
way they've already got?
There's a lot of people though, that are gonna travel internationally, and they
I
just
just don't think they're gonna.
come and get this stuff. I mean,
Unfortunately.
Deloitte's saying, 42,000 Airbnb guests in the Metroplex.
So if we don't do this, what we're saying is, I think you said there's 22 Airbnbs, so this is all circled around those 22 Airbnbs.
Well,
It's
we don't, yeah, I mean, sorry to
It
interrupt.
also markets city events. Churches will be able to put on because people travel, they want to go to church, they'll be able to list their stuff, they'll be able to list their events. School events and stuff will be able to be marketed on there.
Most of them list that already.
And
It's
We,
extensive.
we have about 400,000 in the fund balance of the hotel occupancy tax fund that's accruing because we're limited to what we can spend it on. I just see it as, if you take the emotion away from this operator, I see it as pretty risk-free to run a pilot.
Yeah, so how much is in the,
About 400,000.
But we don't need to just blow on something if it's not gonna pan out. for
Yeah,
the
I
city.
agree. I mean, if you take out the World Cup discussion, the intent is to market your city, which we don't do. And I understand some of the concerns that there's not enough focus on Saginaw or whatever.
yeah, I know that during their presentation, there's a lot there. I do know that they said each city would get like a couple things listed in
Yeah.
a magazine, things like that.
And I think
I
the,
sure wish that we'd had a presentation and we'd had stuff that was more focused to, again, I'm an ROI guy, right? So I have more focus on exactly this is what we're going to do for Saginaw. Not that I don't care about Haltom City or North Richland Hills, but I don't care about Haltom City and North Richland Hills.
Can we leave this in the budget and have it subject to, after a presentation, council voting a yea or nay on it? Like
Yeah,
we would
absolutely. I
if it
mean,
was over $50,000.
and I think too, if the council would like, we can draft an operating agreement with the chamber that outlines whatever
Yeah, but when
requirements
do
or
they gotta have
desires.
this turned in?
What's that?
When did they say that we need to pay this?
I
Haven't
don't
yet.
know. There's a deadline, and
Mr. Mayor, good evening, Mayor and Council. There's not really a deadline. They're just waiting for the other cities to approve their budgets, and they would like to start in October.
So what's your, I mean, this, I guess, basically falls underneath you, right?
You could say economic development does
Yeah.
kind of deal
So-
with tourism.
So what's your vision that they're going to give through you, this city? What's your vision that we're going to get out of it?
I think our
What are we
biggest-
going to get for this 35,000?
I think our biggest thing is time, because time, staff time. I don't have the bandwidth to do
Okay.
it.
Understand time.
Yeah.
Now, what does that time relate to? So if we get time, what are they generating with that time?
So we're going to be able to market our like farmers market,
Okay.
training grain. You could say as well. We're going to try to push more train stuff in the city. For example, if you drive down Main Street, you get to see or Saginaw Boulevard. I apologize. It's Main Street when I hit Fort Worth when I go home. But you see those folks taking pictures of the trains. We need to capitalize on that. There's people who spend thousands of dollars on train products. We need to captivate on that. Of course, if we're talking about vision for the future, I could definitely sit down with y'all and have that conversation. But I think our train depot being located where it's at, or even moving it to another location, the train depot is a good spot. People will definitely, we have calls, I think the chief could definitely speak on this. People have called to get married inside the depot because they're train heads, but it's an office right now. We can't rent it out to them. So I think again, it could be any DMO, it could be this one, it could be, if y'all wish to fund it in-house, it's just something to market, just little pieces of those, like Saginaw, Farmers Market, Training Grain, fireworks event, the Christmas event as well. And to speak on something else about advertisement, we can't advertise inside the city using hotel motel tax. It has to be outside of the city, and we do that by doing our radio station for the last few years. Hopefully that answers your
So-
question.
Mayor and Council, something to consider. Maybe we do a RFP, and if the chamber's interested in submitting, they can submit a proposal, can see what's out there in the market. I mean, maybe there's other operators that would be interested.
I mean, are we gonna, I mean, like, see, I'm looking at things like, okay, well, we're going to, during the event, we're gonna pass flyers out that says, hey, come to Saginaw this afternoon, we're having training grain, something. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for how,
I mean, we could pretty easily advertise
Yeah.
and request a proposal for destination
for
management
ideals of-
services. That's
yeah.
right. And then respondents can provide in written form what they're gonna offer. So the issue is now we're accruing money that we can't feasibly spend absent certain uses, which is why, running a pilot, let's say it's not the chamber, let's say it's some other operator, whatever. I think it's pretty risk-free.
Hey, Kim, could you define or remind us what all hotel motel tax can be used for? Is there a list of I've heard before, but I don't recall the whole list.
There is a list. I think it was sent out by email. I can't speak specifically to it because there's so many things that don't apply to us, like Gabe said, the convention centers and things. So mostly what we can use, so we separate out our collections because we can use a maximum of 15% for the promotion of the arts. And so that's what we use to fund musical entertainment and things at our events. So that piece of it is for promotion of the arts, and it's kind of vague as to what you consider that. That's also where we paid for the dancers that came from Gambia. But then the only thing that really applies to us is the advertising outside of the city. As Pedro mentioned, and so that's why we've used the radio station, because it reaches a wide audience. But really, that's all that we have programs to qualify for that, is the advertising and then the promotion of the arts. And Gabe also mentioned in his email, there have been, because everybody's kind of in this same predicament, is there's such a limited amount of things that you can use to spend it on. There's been different bills that have been presented but really haven't gone very far in the legislature. We were hoping that there was one that you could fund infrastructure around places where you have events or hotels, which we could certainly use, but it hasn't gotten any traction, hasn't been approved.
Yeah, the funny thing is, we have so little hotel and motel in the city. I wish we had more, and that we have as big a balance is surprising. But I guess it's because limited spend. So, any other questions, council? I don't want to stymie anybody. Any other questions? Mr. Gutt, go ahead.
Yeah, and then, so the second question that I had is, there is a portion of the document that was sent to us that says about delegating management of funded activities to another body, another organization. If we are signing up with this DMO through this, is that what we're doing?
Yeah, yeah, like let's say we, take the operator, the chamber out of it. Let's say we do a proposal process, we leave some amount of money. We can dictate what our requirements are for a respondent, and then bring the contract back and we negotiate.
Yeah, because what I'm envisioning is what I would love to see, even if we go with this DMO from the chamber, is I would love to see kind of like how we get directors' reports of, and it doesn't have to be every week, but I would.
No, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I would want to.
What
see
are we
like,
getting?
How many days out? 90 days out. This is what we've done. This is the event that we're promoting at this point. This is what we spent on it. This is what we've done. I mean, I think that's a fair request if we're investing this money.
Sure.
Other questions? Benjamin, do you want to speak now? Come on. You have the floor.
Thank you. So,
Introduce yourself just for the
yes.
record, please.
I'm Benjamin Guttery. I'm a resident here in Saginaw. I spoke to several council members this week, and I also came to City Hall and spoke to several city staff members this week. I'm pleasantly surprised to hear that there's over $400,000 in the account, because the number, and I know that nobody had any bank records in front of me, but the number that was told to me was $90,000. So I thought that we were spending 40% of our budget on this thing. That being said, I still don't think that this is the right project at the right time. And I heard so many things I wanted to shoot up. Even through a third-party organization, they're not going to be able to promote like school events and church events with taxpayer money. Even like putting it in like a brochure, like a listing, like the church is having a festival this weekend, they're not going to be able to do that with taxpayer money. Also, for searching for a hotel or a place to stay or a restaurant, every small business already does like Google AdWords and puts listings in their listings. That's why you see that a lot of the existing Airbnbs put 15 minutes from the stockyards, 20 minutes from Texas Motor Speedway. They're doing that to tie their lasso to the big gorillas around town, you know what I mean? We don't have to do that. We're already benefiting from Visit Fort Worth, because people say, I want to go to the Stockyards. Stockyards Hotel is $600, other Stockyards Hotel is $500. Well, let me open up that radius 10 miles back. Let me see what I can get. Let me open it back 15 miles back, kind of thing. So that's how people naturally search for things. Think about how all of us do our vacations. We either are loyal to like Marriott, or we have a loyalty program with VRBO. If we only stay 10 more nights, we get a free night so we can take the wife out or something. You know, that's how we do searching for vacations. On the chamber thing, we've been a member for 3 years, and I feel like they're just now getting around to like putting Saginaw on things. It kind of irks me. I just don't understand.
I would disagree, but you
Yeah.
keep going, so.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, if you go to like their history section on their website where it talks about, it has like 30 things on like the history of the chamber. Nowhere is we became North Tarrant Chamber and we added our 5th member city for the first time since 1960. But there is mention that they're part of an Eastern Tarrant coalition with Mansfield and Arlington. I mean, Mansfield and Arlington aren't paying them annual dues to be a part of their thing. It's mentioned that they give all these scholarships to Keller and Birdville schools. I heard that they give scholarships to Eagle Mountain Saginaw schools. Why don't they put it on their website? Why does their sign on their headquarters at Denton Highway? It wasn't updated. There's just lots of things where I'm like, if that's how they've been doing the chamber for the last 3 years, I know they've been coming to ribbon cuttings. I know they've been hitting up local businesses for annual dues. I would too if I was a chamber. That does not mean that they're going to like do this project awesome. I really, really wish that, you know, we could gain a lot of money from this. But bottom line, we have 8 sit-down restaurants. We have 3 motels, not hotels. So we'd be using this money to promote them. We actually have about 40 Airbnb VRBOs, and I only looked on 2 websites. And I know all of y'all weren't able to look at the email that I sent, but those were just 2 screenshots. If you see, like, you'll see like the little white bubbles for prices, and then you'll see like a white line underneath it. If you click on that, it opens up. There's like 6 on this street, 5 on that street kind of thing. So we don't have a city ordinance for rentals yet in place. The city has only been gaining taxes from 3 of those, and yet we're gonna like start this new plan to like promote more of them. I'm not anti-chamber, I'm not anti-trying new things, I'm not anti-marketing. I love economic development. Keith Reinhardt was like my best buddy at the city. Like I emailed him all the time. I was like, hey, Caribou Coffee's coming to Texas. Like, you know, Pedro gets my annoying emails all the time. I'm like, Nuke's Eatery's expanding. Like, you know, hey, let's get an AI data center. Like, you know, I really, really want this. I just, 2 things. I don't think we're ready, and I don't think that the plan that I saw, where they misspelled cities, where they talked about there's 12,000 people, if we only get 10%, we're gonna make all this money. You know, I don't think that that was it. I just really don't think that was it. And I'm not gonna hold it against y'all if y'all vote to do it, you know what I mean? Like, I know we have to try new things. I know this money's just sitting in an account. I just want everybody to be like fully aware so that we either know what we're getting into or we can hold them more accountable. One last thing that I just remembered, I didn't hear anything about like individual cities. I heard that because we're 5 small cities, we're gonna promote North Tarrant, like visit North Tarrant, eat in North Tarrant, stay in North Tarrant. If you look at a map, there's a lot of North Tarrant. That doesn't just include us and those 4 cities. And there's so many hotels that are in between here and there. And I guarantee you, if you go to all the hotels at Fossil Creek and you scroll down at their front landing page, it says Saginaw, because they're promoting that they're close to Saginaw. You know, the hotels that are in Fort Worth. Like, that's just how digital marketing and advertising works, which, by the way, I work in. So I know about this stuff. Yeah, so I just wanted y'all to be educated on everything, at least that I researched on it. I'm sure there's great people at the chamber. I'm sure they mean well. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in.
Mayor, council, just one point. The 90,000 we collect, about 90,000 in hotel occupancy tax each year. So that's what that number was.
Oh, it's yearly. Okay, that makes sense.
About 90,000. And that's from 3 hotels, and I believe we have 3 or 4 Airbnbs that are self-reporting. Although I want to mention, we've had discussions, as you're aware, on a short-term rental ordinance, which should come to the council next week for action.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. We've kicked that around. It seems like that dog's done.
There's 3 Airbnb, well, they're for Verbo in Highland Station. They're getting over $750 a night.
Seriously? Wow. That's crazy.
So I did have one more question.
Sure, Sean.
There was talk about that we couldn't spend hotel motel tax dollars inside the city, but I was reading that you could if it was to construct some kind of thing that was going to bring business or bring tourism in. And so if we were to do like, I don't know, a big statue of a train, we could do that and spend those dollars. So I'm just wondering if maybe it makes more sense to continue to save those dollars so that we could spend it on $1 million or $2 million project on something like that. That would be more, and that's why I say I agree with Benjamin that I don't know necessarily that we're ready. I think it's a good idea at some point in the future, but I just don't know that we're ready for it.
So, when we say, I hear that a lot, we're not ready or something, so not that I'm getting to that, but if we're not ready now with something the size of the soccer stuff coming in, then, you know, I'd be willing to say we'll never be ready. So I will state this, if we're gonna do it, it seems like it's either now or never, and never be in a long time.
I mean, and that's sort of the reason that this came, hold on. That's sort of the reason this came up is because the chamber came to us driven by the FIFA stuff, absolutely.
That's what I was
And it's a confluence of several things, you're right. It's not just one thing, it's a confluence of several things.
And I will
It's an opportunity, do we want to leap at the opportunity? That's what we're talking about.
And I want to state this too. Gabe said this is a pilot. If something like this comes to town and we do a pilot and it comes out negative, then that's right there, that's a nail in the coffin. If you can't make this work and at the end, next year, come back and show me an ROI and show me hardline trace back that doing this $35,000 investment got me a PI index of +1 or better, then, yeah, it's,
Right now, I think it's just.
Well, and my only concern with this whole, like, you know, let's do it for this year is, I honestly, I missed this in the budget, how, like, the details of it, and would not have looked into it any further had they not come and presented. And so, in a way, they kind of shot themselves in the foot by doing that, because now we're having this discussion on it.
Hey, it's good to get discussion and have communication, yeah. We want to learn, absolutely, yeah.
But my concern is that, you know, if we do it at this time, that the next time, I'm human, I might forget what it is and see it and go, yeah, we've done it for years, and just keep doing it. So I would want it to be limited to not go back in the budget again.
oh, it's a one-time shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to talk? Come back to the microphone, please.
Benjamin Guttery, one more time.
That's okay.
I just want to be like, so everybody understands, like the FIFA thing, a lot of people are right. People are still going to book last minute. There are people that are going to say, oh, I got 2 extra tickets. My cousin's going to come. They can't stay in the same hotel room as me, all that kind of stuff. But 2 things. They're just going to go to a search website and they're going to say, how close am I to where my game is? My game is at Texas Stadium. My game is at the Fair Park. My game is at whatever. And how far out from that, which is why I had a problem with the gentleman giving the presentation was like, oh yeah, you can get people to stay here for Peppa Pig. Like, you're not staying 30 miles away to go bring 4 toddlers to North Richland Hills. Like, you're just not. Like, you're gonna try to get as close as you can to there. So the $113 they're gonna spend and the millions of people, all that's great, but people are just looking as far out from the game. The second thing is, we have a lot of other big cities. If you read, I have subscriptions, Dallas Morning News, Fort Worth Business Journal, Star Telegram, all of them. Every city is like been gunning for these dollars for years. I mean, I just saw the other day that FIFA and Texas Stadium are putting out for 6,000 volunteers. I mean, Dallas, they don't have a single match being played in Dallas, and Dallas is like, oh, like, we're gonna get so much money, everyone, you know what I mean? So I mean, I feel like they're late even talking about us starting in October to like get people to like stay at Motel 6 in Landmark Inn and in Saginaw Springs and in all the neighborhoods that we have. I really, if y'all do it, I would like some other sort of thing to be set with the city that y'all tell building and code enforcement to have every single short-term rental within 90 days registered with the city, paying taxes just like Motel 6 has to pay, just like all these restaurants have to pay. I know 3 in my neighborhood. I'll narc them out.
Say,
I mean,
we agree with you 100%.
yeah, totally. So, you know, just, yep.
We have the draft ordinance, so.
We do. We're trying. We're definitely trying on that.
Thank you.
All right, so a couple things. How do we want to proceed? I guess that's my question to the council. This is, One line item out of the hotel motel tax, 38,000, 36,000, what is it, Kim? 38? I don't have it in front of me.
The amount, the original dollar amount, which is what is in the proposed budget, was 36,910, but the presentation said 35.5, I think.
Okay, 35 or 36,000, okay. How does council want to proceed? I will, do we want to, we got a couple options. Budget as is, goes forward. B, carve out this at this time, carve it out. Discuss it later as a separate, we could do it, a mid-year exemption, we could do several things there. That's two options. Those are basically our two options. What's council's pleasure?
I think, don't we have to close the public hearing?
We do, we're still considering it, but I
Talk
just,
about what we want.
yeah, I'm just trying to,
I'd like to see us leave it in the budget, but have them come back and present, and we'll solicit bids, and, you know, whatever we end up doing, approve that expenditure at a later date, but it's still in the budget.
I think that if we solicit bids, if we're running like in pace with the hall, if we try to solicit bids, we're gonna miss it. So I think if we're gonna do it, we should do it, but we need to have stipulations as far as what we want, and they need to present that to us before we write the check.
I'm sure we could get them to come back, right? They'd be happy to come back and present answer a few more questions and
Yeah,
some
I
more
mean,
details.
if we published an RFP, we would request bids. I'm confident the North Tarrant Chamber would submit based on past interest. There may be other, Visit Fort Worth was mentioned. They may have interest, I don't know. Or other private operators. And just like with any project, just because there's a submittal doesn't mean the council's bound to approve or choose that operator, so.
Nick, do you have something you want to add?
Yeah, definitely I have no problem with leaving it in the budget, but that money can't, I want us, before that money can be spent, it has to come back before the council to be voted on.
Yeah, how can we mark that, or how can we make that happen, ensure that happens? How do we do that?
Yeah,
Do you just take their name off of it and leave the money there for this whatever or whatever? Can you do that?
yeah, we just leave it in the budget as destination management operator, and then we'll create an RFP and put that out and probably get something back to you in the next couple months.
Is council okay with that path forward? Just you don't have to vote, I'm just verbally.
If we don't do it, it's not burning a hole in our pocket.
No, you're right. And
I
maybe
wanna
you get a bid, you don't award a contract.
To me, I don't have any axe to grind with them. It has nothing to do with that. So
Correct.
to me, it isn't so much send out an RFP to get me 3 other people to give me a vague statement. Like Pedro was saying, okay, what do we, if we're gonna advertise, I mean, I know we got this big, what you call it? FIFA. I know nothing about soccer.
Instead of all black and white balls.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was black, I just thought it was white. But what other things, like I said, are we gonna do on a regular, to me, this is if we fund this, it's not just, what would we do regularly then? How would we change it? How would we invest to get advertisement out there to begin to try to pull things in from, to me, the closest thing we got is this stockyard, right? And they have things down there every weekend.
It sounds to me like the council wants a little more Saginaw-specific information.
That's right.
Or Saginaw-centric, maybe is the right word. And how could we get that before this is officially approved? Is that a reasonable way to say it? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I think so, all right, what I'm hearing, let me summarize, keep it in the budget, put some guardrails around it. Before we approve the actual thing, we want more Saginaw-centric information. Everybody fair with that? Does that sound reasonable? Okay.
And I think we should wait till after we get the ordinance on the.
Yes.
Oh, we're gonna push that forward, absolutely, that's not stopping, 100%. All right, so that is not the only thing in the budget, so we're still, any other questions on the budget? We have a lot more in the budget, anything else anybody wants to bring up? Pedro?
Mr. Mayor, just for my notes, are we talking about the guardrails that we're gonna be adding, is that gonna be added to the RFP that we're gonna be doing? I wanna make sure for my notes.
I think we said, yes, we'd love to have an RSP, but we'd also like to hear from the chamber folks as to what Saginaw-centric stuff they could do, does that make sense?
I disagree. I don't think that we need that.
You don't think we need an RFP? Okay.
I think that I want them to come with more details, and if
Okay.
we can take all of our notes from today and send it to them ahead of time so that they can come better prepared to answer those questions, I think that probably would satisfy council.
Okay.
I
Right.
mean, literally what the mayor said, I want to hear, what am I getting Saginaw-centric for that $35,000?
And you know, there's other things. We've pushed the chamber on more Saginaw stuff since we've been involved. We are the new guy. We pushed them some. They've done some. Have they done enough? Probably not. Would I like more? I would love more. But this is what we have now. We need something. We need some kind of chamber or some entity. They're pretty good. They're good at what they do. Are they doing enough Saginaw? Maybe not. But they're pretty good at what they do. They're very passionate. They do show up. I like that. Our businesses like that. So there's good things here, but it's not perfect, and we definitely realize that. So, all right, so no RFP, Saginaw-centric, more details, presentation. Did I miss anything? Mary, go ahead.
Okay, I think we need to, and, remember that this is separate from North Tarrant County Chamber of Commerce. And I personally, I just don't think we're ready for it. So I would be willing to make a motion just to see if I get a second and just to see if it passes in the other point of view. Just, would that be a problem? And then we'll know more where people stand.
Not during this public hearing, but we can,
Okay.
we can do it after. So what would,
Okay.
hypothetically, what would your motion be?
My motion would be to remove this DMO, is that what it's called, from the budget, from this budget that we're adopting. That would be my motion, and then I would just be curious to see if it got a second and if it got a majority of vote.
And I would be curious what that would do as far as our budget process. What are the implications of delaying this process?
That's no delay.
No delay. I mean, this is a very minor restricted use fund. We're,
So the tax
So
rate's
if we
still the
take it
same,
out,
we're
it's
just
not really
operating
gonna
under that tax rate?
Yeah, I don't think it would drop the
Tax
tax
rate.
rate any, unfortunately, but
Okay.
very, very,
we always, as the year goes on, we always have adjustments to the budget, so this could be considered an adjustment, and it's not very much, so it wouldn't, unfortunately, it wouldn't drop your tax rate any, sorry, regardless, so.
I appreciate that.
But he just said it didn't matter if we took
Yeah.
it out, so we might as well just take it out and then we can redo it.
You could direct
It
staff.
wouldn't matter towards the overall budget.
Right,
You just wouldn't get to run the pilot.
that's correct,
So you wouldn't get to see how beneficial it would be.
that's right. Yes, ma'am.
Just one other point. I could certainly be wrong, but my feeling is they've already given us their presentation. I don't see that it would change.
And I really don't think we're ready for it. We don't have the hotels and. That's true.
All right, other budget item questions, other comments on the budget? We have many other issues, any other dollars in the budget, any other questions, concerns about those other pieces? When talking to Kim the other day, she highlighted a couple things that I will highlight here just out of completeness. Things that are in the budget that are major and maybe that are a little different. We do have a cost of living adjustment for our employees, 3%. That is lower than it was in the last couple of years because we've had done a lot of raises to them and we've had some positive impacts from that. I'm thrilled that I think we're almost fully staffed in the police department.
Our 42nd officer started today. We are fully staffed.
Hooray! All right, and I believe, Kim and I talked this yesterday, when was the last time we were fully staffed, Chief? You were fully staffed.
It's been over 10 years. I can't tell you the specific year that we were last fully staffed. It's been a while.
My brain says maybe 15 years. It seems like since I've been on the council, we've been very seldom fully staffed. So that is a direct result of us paying it forward the last couple of years, spending the money. So thank you, and thanks to the chief. I think we're also almost going to get healthy in the fire department. We've got some great applicants, and we're moving forward with those, correct?
Yes, sir. We look to have them filled really quick.
And I've heard we had 16 or 17 applicants for our open positions, something like that?
Originally, we had some interviews today, so we're moving full steam ahead.
And that's a direct result of us paying market rate compensation. Public Works, we've had a lot of great candidates. I hear we're getting certified candidates, experienced candidates, not just new kids out of high school. We're getting candidates with experience and certifications to fill these roles. Is that?
Yes, we actually had 2 employees start the last couple of weeks in the water department with experience. They've jumped right in and have been already great members to our team.
That's fantastic. So that's a direct result of what the council's done the last couple of years. So that's one thing. Another thing is we are paying more for EMS service with the new Fort Worth. We're not MedStar anymore, a new Fort Worth system. We're paying about $260,000 more a year than we have been. So that's an impact to the budget, of course. We need to do it. We believe we'll get better service. That's what we're hoping. We'll see that and finalize and see. Other things, we of course sold our last bonds from the 2021 bond election. So that cost. There's a cost related with that. That's the primary driver behind tax increases, bonds. But this is the last bonds we'll have to sell for the 2021. We're all done. Last tax increase related to the bond. We're delivering on what the citizens told us to do. Across the street, you can see the senior center and library is very perilously close to being done. It is fantastic. If you haven't been in there, please make a visit. That's going, spending almost all the parks money. Opal Joe Jennings and Brian Swinger Park are in progress. They're not done, but they're going. That's direct result of the vote from 2021 from the citizens. And streets. Knowles is almost done. Starting stuff on West McElroy, spending all that money. We got, match from the county on Knowles, so that helps. We're trying to deliver on what we've done, but that costs money. So that's another highlight from this budget. Any other big highlights that I missed? Things that we're not buying a fire truck yet, so don't anybody get excited. That's a discussion for another day, a very expensive discussion for another day.
Talking about the bond, the last two parks, they're well on their way of being redone.
Yes, sir.
That's good.
They're looking good.
Out of that bond, we were able to update 4 parks.
I thought it was 5. Well, a bunch.
Or
You're
maybe
right.
5. I counted 4 off the top
No,
of my head.
we did make a lot of progress, visible progress. Playgrounds, things look a lot more. We've updated a lot. It was fantastic, yeah. And that was thanks to our Parks Board and our Parks Board folks. I know that was, I won't give Brack all the credit, but I'll give him some credit. Absolutely, 100%.
Don't forget the roads.
No, the roads, Knowles look awesome. Knowles look really good. Knowles was a drainage project disguised as a road, but it is not flooding anymore and is almost done. So we're getting there. So that costs. So that's part of this budget. Any other highlights that I did not mention on the budget? I'm trying to think. I don't have my notes with me on just all the big ticket items or the unusual items. Took a few people, added some folks from part-time up to more part-time or full-time, did a little of that. Not a lot of heads were added this year. Pretty lean staff-wise, but we're making a lot with what we have.
I did have one.
Yes, sir.
So I did send you a question about the aquatic center, the master fee for the aquatic center, since it's dealing with the budget. I know there's an item later on, but it's part of the budget. We can talk about it now. It was brought to my attention that employees do not get into the aquatic center for free. So I didn't know if that was something that we wanted to discuss, because I don't think I would be curious to see how much money we would lose, how much revenue the aquatic center would lose by making that change. I don't know how much the employees utilize it. I know we have the kickoff for Public Works, where everybody gets to come and enjoy it, kind of a closed thing. But I would be, I don't know if it's a good look if a Saginaw employee goes to go in and they're told, well, wait, you got to pay. I just don't know.
They go free to the rec center,
To the
right?
rec center, yes.
But not the aquatic center, okay.
Why can't they go free to the, how much do they?
I mean, we could make that part of their benefit package, just add it on that they.
And you're right, it wouldn't cost that much money.
No,
Absolutely would
yeah.
not.
Wouldn't cost us anything.
I just think it's a small thing on our side, but I think it would show that if it's a concern of theirs, it's an easy just stroke of the pen done, and it's good for them.
Yeah, how do we do that? How do we make that happen?
Would that be them and their family, or just them?
I think just them, because that's the way I think it should mirror the rec center. Because the rec center one, I believe, for the membership is for them, and then there's additional fees for their family to add a membership. I think if I remember right, it's like $55 per member. But yeah, I think that's.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, what does other cities do? Has anybody looked into that?
But we don't have to do what everybody else does.
We're
We're gonna be a leader.
We're trying to be on the right track here.
How hard would that be?
We'll lead, let them follow.
I think that's an easy change, right?
It wouldn't be that hard, but I don't know how many of it is, and we're talking about a budget, so if you abstract that, I would like some information from
It's
Kim.
not really costing anything.
Well, it could potentially, if, say every city employee is going every day, But I don't think that's, that's where I just think it's
Your fixed costs and your lifeguards is all gonna be the same anyway.
correct.
Well, we calculate our cost of what the pool's gonna bring in with historical data. So now, and it may only be 2 people in the city, I don't know. But if you take a block of people out of that and say now they can get in free, that historical data that we're using is now not as correct. And the more people it is, the more incorrect that data will be.
If that's the direction of council, I would say we would ask the rec center people to start tracking that. I don't think it would be anything significant, and if you all decide that, tell us that that's going to be part of the benefit, then we'll start tracking that, so we can give you good numbers.
So I'm good with it. I just wanted to raise that up on the other side. that
No,
it
we
is-
don't, you're right, we don't know. We don't have a number.
And we probably will save costs other places that,
Yeah.
like Brack just said to me, not on mic, but it's gonna fall within the margin of error probably.
Yeah.
So,
it could-
And it
so-
may bring more
And
revenue
look at
in
it
if
this
their
way,
family
they might
members
bring the
come.
rest of their
True.
family, you know, instead of just him and not bring hands and knuckles or whatever.
Well, I like putting it as one of their benefits.
Yeah.
They could do the aquatic center for free, you know, so that's good. Okay, other questions on the budget? We're in open public hearing for fiscal year 2025-26 budget. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
You know what, while I'm here, and because I actually meant to talk about this the other night, but when that presentation happened, I got totally off track. I saw that overtime for code enforcement was cut by $5,800. I know that is like a rounding error and things, but that's a really important department to me as I drive around the city and see things, and it keeps up property values. And you know, something that I mentioned to the several city council people that I talked to this week, and that we heard whenever we talked about the budget, was that for the first time in over a decade, property values went down in Saginaw. And some of that was from the market, some of that was from people like me protesting, which more and more and more residents are. And some of that is from, you know, code enforcement, frankly. I mean, and it's just what happens. Think about it. If you're living in your neighborhood and you keep seeing all kinds of things happening and you're like, I'm just gonna move to the country. I'm just gonna move to this new neighborhood where it'll take 5 years for it to catch up. I'm just gonna move wherever, kind of thing. So I know it's only $5,800. I know this other thing was only $35,000. Sorry, I make a stink about stuff, but I think that department needs overtime because they just got their second officer. They've been one for the last several months, and yeah. So.
What's the story on that, on the $5,800?
Yeah, let me,
Reduction in overtime.
yeah.
I know,
Just
but
managing overtime better,
was it just because we had budgeted 2 months last year? Is that, it was,
just based on historic use.
okay, historic use, okay.
Well, and also too, I mean, we want overtime to be 0.
Right. So hopefully with them
So
having the new
If
employee.
you're having a lot of overtime, then that means you don't have the proper amount of resources, and that means you're overtaxing your employees, put them under stress. So really and truly, by us looking at historical data and saying, okay, we can bring that overtime down, that means
Yeah.
that.
well, and I was gonna say,
It means that we're bringing bringing on new employees and stuff to come up, so.
Yep,
One-
it could have just been from them being short last year. I just thought that was the first thing I came to this whole meeting for, was because of that one line item. So I thought I'd mention it while the mic's open, so,
well,
yeah.
and I know one of the new programs that was implemented pretty recently was the door hangers. And I think that is contributing to a more efficient code enforcement policy. So I think that we're good on that.
Spot on.
Okay. All right, other questions? We've covered a few things here. Any other budget questions?
She's got a question for you.
Yes, you want to call, you can come and speak, ma'am. Absolutely. It's an open forum. Just introduce yourself and ask your question. And welcome. Thanks for coming out.
It's my second visit.
Oh.
I'm Diana Hanson, and I want to make a comment, mostly just for education. I just don't know where it's appropriate, but as a former owner of an Airbnb in the city of Fort Worth, one of the things that was set up was like the ad valorem tax for short-term rentals and whatnot. The program owner, he was able to set up with the city a direct, take it out from their income, because everything kind of goes kind of sort of what they call like an escrow account, and then it would go straight to the city. So I'm not sure if everybody's aware of that, but y'all could set that up too. So it's just a comment to educate, saying that when that happens and other short-termers register and stuff, encourage them to inquire with whichever program they're with and whatnot.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have that many registered now, but we're trying to get more. We're trying to find them and get them in the official system, so.
You said you got 40, right? 40?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it's gonna bump up to 43 here real quick so we can get this.
That's just on 2 websites.
Yeah. All right, other budget questions? We are still in a public hearing for the budget. Nothing is off the table. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, then at 6:55, I take us out of a public hearing. And then at 6:55, into a public hearing on proposed 2025 property tax rate for fiscal year 2025-26. Gabe and Kim.
Nothing further to add, Mayor, than what we've already discussed. The budget was based on the voter-approved rate. Went into that some detail at our last meeting, so no additional information.
Fortunately, that since our budget workshop, the tax rate has gone down slightly based on new information, so thank you, Kim, for keeping us up to date. It's gone down, what, less than half of a cent, like a third of a cent or something like that. So not much, but down is always good. Any questions on the tax rate? Sean, you have a question?
I don't have a question. I did want to make a comment that I think people need to understand part of the reason why we can't adopt a no new revenue tax rate, because I know that that's going to be brought up. When just like Todd alluded to earlier, when citizens vote for bonds, it is a tax increase, and those tax increases are delayed. So, I got elected to help reduce taxes, but we are hamstrung on how much we can do. And I think Kim has done a great job, and Gabe and staff. I think they've done a great job of trimming whatever fat is there to try to get us as low as we can. And I'm good with where we sit.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, I think it's important to note we do have a pretty, comparative for Tarrant County, we have a pretty low tax rate. We're not the lowest, but we have a pretty low tax rate. I'm pretty confident in where we are. We do a lot with what we have. We have a pretty lean staff compared to other cities. Other cities are a lot heavier staff than we are per capita. And that's a testament to our folks. And if anybody has a question about how much money we spend, you talk to Kim Quinn, she keeps a very fine eye on how much money we spend. She would not let me spend too much money. I promise you that. And us, we're just the city council, we're elected, but for them, this is their career. They're serious. This is their career. This is their livelihood at stake. This is their reputation. So I'm very passionate about doing it right and doing it legally, and Kim and her team do a fantastic job. So I appreciate y'all staying on top of that. Any other tax rate questions?
So what is the rate that we're gonna be voting on? So people out there know.
52.9649 cents.
52.9649, I believe is what you said?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other tax rate questions? If not, at 6:58, I take us out of a public hearing. Okay. Moving forward, 3A, considering action regarding resolution 2025.15, adoption of a fiscal year budget. Oh, all right, before we go forward, I'll offer this. Do you want to make a motion? Okay. Go ahead, Mary.
I would like to make a motion that we remove the item for the DMO from the budget.
Second.
All right, Valerie, second. Everybody understand the motion on the floor? Then cast your votes. All right, motion fails 4-3. Thank you, ma'am. All right, moving on. So 3A, consideration action regarding resolution 2025.15, adoption of fiscal year 2025-26 budget. Kim and Gabe again. What else do we need to say? I think we've said it. Yes, sir. You have a question?
We need to make sure that we have the amendment from
You mean about specifically the,
About the DMO.
Yeah.
To make sure that
The DMO.
that doesn't get spent until we have the discussion about
to have a presentation again and a discussion? Yeah.
presentation and discussion
I
again.
didn't think that needed to be a motion. I thought it was just.
Yeah, that's
said by
clear.
staff.
No, it needs to be, you,
Okay.
you need it to be a motion.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you, Nick, for bringing that up. So I guess then,
All right, hold on, before we do, hold on. What was Kim's input?
That, and then the only other note I had was the added benefit for the employees aquatic center.
okay. Yeah.
All right, then I will, if we want to do it, I'll entertain a motion. Sean?
Okay, I make a motion that we add a restriction on the DMO funds for hotel motel tax to not be spent until it is brought to the council, a presentation, more details, and for us to ask questions before we approve that.
And voted on by the council.
And voted on by
Yeah.
council, yes.
Do I have a second? Nick, second? Motion passes. Thank you, sir. Do we need to do anything about the aquatic center employee?
I can,
How do we cover that? Do we need a motion for that, or are we good?
No, sir, we'll just make note of it and.
Okay,
and
duly noted by
ask-
staff?
And ask the rec center to start keeping track.
Okay.
Do we need a motion? If we do, I'll do it.
I don't think we need a motion. We're good. Okay. I think we've cleared up some details. So I will entertain a motion on Resolution 2025-15, adoption of the fiscal year budget.
Mayor, I make a motion that I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of .529649, which is effectively a 6.23 increase in the tax rate.
We need to do, okay. So we need to do B first, which is ratifying, right, ratifying it, and then the language that's specific, Mr. Councilmember Falegi, is for the next one, which would be item C.
I know it's a multi-step process, so.
And it's
A-
required by law, that's. what
Right,
we're
oh, I understand. So A is just on the resolution, that's a simple motion. B is tax rate, C is the one with the language.
Correct.
Okay. All right, let's start over. I want a motion on 3A, please.
Mayor, I'll make a motion on, that we approve 3A with the exceptions noted.
Okay. Do I have a second on that? Nick, second, okay? Please catch your votes. Motion passes. All right. 3B, consideration action regarding to ratify property tax rate increase reflected in the fiscal year 2025-26 budget. I don't think we have any discussion on that, so I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, make a motion we approve item 3B, the property tax rate increase to reflect fiscal year 2025-2026.
Thank you, sir. Have a second? Brack? Motion passes. 3C, consideration action regarding ordinance 2025-15, adoption and setting the property tax rate for 2025 tax year. I will entertain a motion, Mayor Pro Tem.
I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of .529649, which is effectively a 6.23% increase in the tax rate.
Do I have a second? Mary, second? Motion passes. Thank you, folks. All right, moving on. Hey, so pause for that. We have a budget. How about that? That's exciting. And thanks to Kim and her team, this has been a long process. So we have a budget. Congratulations. Well done, folks. 3D, consideration action regarding ordinance 2025-16, water and wastewater sewer service rates. Gabriel, Kim Quinn.
Mayor, nothing to add from what we've discussed previously. You might recall we budgeted this current fiscal year for a rate study. We had a third-party New Gen Solutions present to the City Council 2 meetings or so back. They presented a rate structure that'll smooth increases over time at a 3.25%, as opposed to having the up and down that we have. You may recall the vast majority of our expenses, the utility fund is related to buying water from, we're a wholesale customer of Fort Worth, so that's what our utility rates reflect. I missed anything, Kim?
Yeah, so that is an important point, is we do not make our own water. We buy water from the city of Fort Worth, and we sell sewer back to them. So they get us both ways, or both ends. And fortunately, there is a coalition, and we are trying to smooth out that rate. I think that makes a lot of sense, because we've had some wild swings in this over the years. So this would be better for folks to budget and make more sense. Any questions on this? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that we approve 3D ordinance number 2025-16, water and wastewater sewage service rate.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Valerie, second. Motion passes. 3, consideration and action regarding ordinance 2025-17, amending the master fee schedule by amending the aquatic center fees and senior center membership fees. Vicki Vega, what do you have for us? City Secretary?
It's attached. So during the budget process and in the workshops, it was discussed that we were going to increase the aquatic center fees and the senior center membership fees. So ordinance number 2025-17 amends the master fee.
Okay. Questions about the fees, folks? We've been over this a few times. Questions, comments?
We don't need to put anything in there about moving letting employees free.
So the question is, do we want to get the data, or do we just want to make a motion?
Why don't we just make it part of their package?
Because Kim said that it would be marginal anyways, that's what I was looking for.
If it's
Kim says it's
T9.
good, I'm good.
So do we need to change it on the master, put it on the fee schedule, or is it just going to be part of the benefit?
It's part of the benefit.
I don't think it'd be part of the fee schedule, would it? Because it's
Yeah,
it's
it'd be
not
part of the
citizens, it's
benefit.
employees, so.
And that's why I'm confused, because on the master fee schedule, it does have it for the rec center. So that's why I would, if we want to be consistent, so we need to remove it from the one and add it to
I
the.
just want to make sure it makes it in as,
Yeah.
hey, we could put in there that they have to use it once a week.
Part of their fitness plan?
Yeah. That's a fitness
We can
plan.
add that, we can add that to the fee schedule. Yeah,
Okay.
So do I need to make a motion to do that then?
you can just direct us to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions before I call for a motion? Any other questions on master fee schedule? Yes, Mary?
Yes, I'm totally in favor of the senior center increases. I think it will not cause a hardship on anybody, and they're very reasonable. As far as the aquatic center, if we adopt these rates, it really actually will not affect the pool until next summer, and we will have an opportunity mid-year for our reconciliation to revisit it, and perhaps at that time, we might be able to make some adjustments where that won't be such a burden on our residents going up so high from $5 to $10. So for that reason, I am going to vote for these changes, knowing that we have another opportunity to discuss the aquatic center fees at the midpoint of our reconciliation of the budget.
Thank you, Mary. That's a very good point. Thank you for bringing that up. Any other questions on the master fee?
Just that adding the fee also gives us an opportunity, it gives us wiggle room. So if we keep it in there and we get money and the expense goes down, we then can possibly use that money to add features like this covering we're looking at, because
Extra
it'll probably,
pavilions.
without this extra funding, it'd probably be cost prohibitive, since our budget's gonna be so tight next few years. So that is the one thing to look at it as is it could give us to where we could add extra amenities, which will benefit the citizens.
Yep, no. It is not cheap to keep a pool.
No.
Aquatics, it is we've learned that. It is not cheap, a cheap endeavor.
Other cities right now going through the budget process that are talking about closing pools.
I've heard that, yeah.
I can say most HOAs, one of their number one expenses is the pool.
Really?
By the time you calculate in the pool maintenance and the chemicals and insurance.
I mean, we never thought we would make money on the aquatic center. We really didn't. We just don't want to lose too much money. But it's a service. We're providing a service. We didn't go into it saying, this is going to be a huge moneymaker for us. We said it's a service that citizens want and they like. But we just want to lose too much money, so.
Well, you know, but you gotta think about also, Saginaw doesn't have a lot of activities for children that stay home during the summer. Not like Fort Worth, not like Arlington, Dallas, all them. They all have all kinds of things. All we have is a swimming pool, and we have a park. And so I think that we need to make sure and keep that for our citizens.
All right, any other questions on master fee schedule? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, make a motion, we approve it as we discussed, and to add the employee benefits or whatever.
Okay, do I have a second? Sean, second? Please cast your votes. Motion passes. All right, that takes us to the end of our regular agenda. I do not believe we have any executive sessions this night. Hallelujah. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Valerie? Paul, second? Please cast your votes.
They just
At 7:11, we're adjourned. Thank y'all.
They just got